All righty, I think we are live. Let me just make sure. All right, we are live. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday morning. Big shout out to anybody who's taking time out of their workday to come and listen in on a little bit of this amazing conversation that my friend and colleague Marian Saint and I are going to be having all about the Sands and Serenity experience happening in Key West this May. And look, if you're here on my personal page, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that we are all about retreats here. We do a lot of them throughout the year. We've been doing them a very long time. And you also know, if you know me, how much I love going to the Keys. And it's why I always do at least one or two retreats a year in the Keys because it is such a special place. It is a very high energy place. And it is a place where literally the pieces in your life can shift just enough that you can literally step into your future. So Marian is going to be joining me this year in May. And Marian was a guest on my podcast last year, and we hit it off. And we just thought this would be a really great experience to do for our people. Marian is an accomplished photographer. She also helps people in their businesses. She's very multi-talented, but we are going to be borrowing her photography expertise for this experience. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for jumping in and joining me to this morning.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talk today. And as I was getting ready for the day and super cold and putting on my long sleeve shirt, I'm like, I cannot wait to get to Key West and be in on the beach with my feet in the sand, doing
Right,
some personal growth and connecting with some more amazing women. May
right,
cannot come soon enough. Oh my
right.
gosh.
So I remember when you and I first started talking about this, and when I brought up Key West, you were like, that sounds really good. So what comes to your mind when you think of Key West or the
Sun,
Keys in general?
sun, sand. So, first of all, I haven't been there before. I'm really excited to check it off my bucket list. I haven't actually been further south in Florida than Jacksonville. So, this will be, and coming from Hawaii, I haven't been to the beach in a little bit of time. I've been down to Mexico and Honduras, but I'm just so
Uh,
excited to get into Florida and
yeah,
just be in that environment. There's something really amazing about being in nature that you can't
absolutely.
get it anywhere else.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It is. It's pretty incredible. It's just so very freeing for me. And look, not that my life is constraining in any way, or not that the way that we live is constraining in any way, but there's something about going to an absolutely spectacularly beautiful spot and you just feel like you're connected to that high energy.
yes, exactly. And what I love too is because you retreats are your thing and you do them a lot. You know how to facilitate. You have so much experience both leading and attending and making sure that the community and the ladies that come have this amazing transformational experience.
Uh-huh.
There's nobody else to go with that's better than you because you know what you're doing and you've done it before.
Thank
You have
you.
tons of
Yeah.
experience.
Well, I think I appreciate that. Thank you. But I also am so looking forward to being able to offer my guests a personalized photo shoot. And I feel like I'd like to really talk about that first because I feel like at least some of the conversations I've had with people who are interested in coming, I think for one, people think, well, I'm not a business owner. Why do I need a photo shoot?
Hmm.
Right. And number two, I feel like people have probably had like a photo shoot before where you just go and you have a headshot or you have somebody takes your photo for like the Christmas card or something.
Yeah.
But tell me, because I know this is your jam. This is what you do. You have lots of experience doing this. What could really be the meaning of having an experience like this on a retreat in your view?
100%. So the first thing is this is not just a regular photo session. This is not something that's meant to sit in front of the camera. We're going to take some headshots or some branding or anything like that. One of the things that I work very, very hard to do for every person that I work with is help that shift their thinking and help them to see themselves in a different light.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
get so many times people see these pictures, they're crying because they feel beautiful. They have an
Uh-huh.
amazing time. They can carry that energy that I'm pulling out of them in their photo session into every single aspect of their life. And so the photos are meant to be um the basis for a person stepping into what they're trying to accomplish, what they're trying to achieve. So no, it's not we're not going to do headshots, we're not going to do branding. This is an empowerment photo session that's meant
Yes.
to be who are you? Who are you trying to be?
Yes.
Who are you trying to embody?
Yes, because a lot of what we do on my retreats, and I know people watching, whether you're watching me live or whether you're catching the replay, for those of you that have been on retreat with me before, one of my common threads, regardless of where I go, is I really am so passionate about living into the future that you're creating for yourself because my background is in health and fitness, so I'm all about taking care of your mind and your body so that you can live your best life. But when you're stepping into the future that you're envisioning for yourself, I really think that as human beings, we get really tripped up and caught up because we sort of think of them as two different worlds. We think,
Mm,
well, this is the way my life is now. And this is the way that I know where I know I want to be. And people think that that's a long way away. And I really think that having a personalized photo session with someone like you who can really like help bring this out a little bit more, that truly can be a game changer for people.
100%. And that's speaking from personal experience.
Yeah.
So with my background, I went to feeling stuck both in a bad marriage, but I wasn't so many different aspects. I didn't love the work that I was doing. This was a little bit ago.
Hmm.
Didn't like how I was spending my daily life, didn't feel good about my health and fitness, um was fat, was broke, was upset, was such a victim mindset. And it
Hmm.
took taking one step after the other and catching a vision for who I wanted to be and the kind of person that I wanted to embody, and then taking those steps every single day to get there.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
part of it was also getting inspiration from other people. I kind of borrowed some of that confidence and courage from other people along the way where they saw more for me, and they're like, "Oh no, you can achieve these steps and these visions and these goals." And that's what I'm able to bring to other people that I photograph. I can see
Yeah.
something about them. I can hear their story and be like, "Oh, actually I hear what you're saying, but I
Yes.
can see a better future for you." And the photos become part of that journey and part of
Yes.
who that person is trying to become. So I feel like it's come full circle with where I
I
was
love
and now
that.
what I do for people.
I
So,
love that. A colleague of mine has a saying. He says, make your mess your message. So
mhm.
I think a lot of times what we go through, whether it's a challenge, whether we solve a problem, whether it's we figure out a solution to something that we're struggling with, a lot of times when we go through that, that's what we are here to teach other people, right?
Yes.
And that's really what you're doing with your work.
100%. And that's also a reminder that you need to get around those other people that are able
Yes.
to share their stories and their lessons with you. Yesterday, I actually talked to a client on the phone. She was booking in her photo session back here in Texas, and we spoke for an hour on the phone. She went over her life story, her ups and downs, but also how she's giving back to her community. And one of the reasons that she wanted to come in and do a boudoir photo session in my studio was because she wanted to inspire other people around her about what's able to be accomplished. She went from having a freak accident where she was supposed to never be able to walk again to
Wow.
having 80% mobility after about a year.
That's
And
incredible.
being able to tell your story and coming through all those things is going to serve not only yourself and the people around you, but other people too. And so,
Yeah. And I also think, to your point, being in the room with other people, it's that in-person connection.
yes.
It's that energy that's just different. It's like you and I can have a great conversation right here, and we'll feel good in the moment and all that, but when you're in person with people in the room and you're away from the conflicts and the distractions and the notifications and all the ways that we're conditioned to live today,
Yep.
when we're in a room in person with other people and we're working together, collectively, and kind of sharing, it just adds to the experience. It can literally change things from night to day.
Yes, 100%. Because we're all taking and giving things to other people energetically. And
Yeah,
so that's what I love about how you've curated your retreat experiences because you're super mindful about the people that you're putting into the room, how they're coming together, but also giving them the space to both learn and grow and then also reflect, have fun time. Like everything just is very intentional about what you're trying
yeah.
to accomplish for everybody who
Yeah, and
participates.
I'm really glad that you brought this up because this is probably a question I get asked every single day by somebody, whether it's someone I know that finds me online or somebody that I know here in Raleigh where I live. They may say something to me like, tell me exactly what you do on your retreats. Oh, I've seen your retreats, but tell me, what do you do? What's different than, you know, a vacation or a getaway? Because I honestly think too, today, people think that a lot of people believe that retreats are just getaways. They're just getting
Mm.
away with friends and kind of
The
getting
girls,
away from your
girls'
life and the whole
weekend.
thing,
Yep. No,
right?
not so
And
much.
look, there is nothing wrong with any of that. I'm a full-fledged believer in doing that completely. But that's really not the same thing as having a really high-end curated experience like what we're doing.
Exactly. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily always, I'm pretty intentional with the trips that I take. And
Totally.
for me to be like, yes, let's come together. Let's go on this retreat together. Let's offer this amazing photo experience to everybody who comes
Hmm.
to this retreat. I had to definitely think about, is this how I want to be spending my time and energy and focus? And
Yep.
I'm so in on what we're going to accomplish in May. Like I
Yeah.
could not be more excited.
Yeah, it's just it really to me is completely different because think about it. When you go on a vacation or you go out of town with your friends, you pretty much are focused on doing the things that you really want to do. You
Hmm.
might sleep in really late, you might sit by the pool and have cocktails all day, which don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that if that's your jam. It's not my place to pass judgment on anybody. But at the end of the day, nothing really in you changes when you do that,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You still operate in the same way. You still go home and you approach your challenges in the same way. You have the same conversations with family members and people that know you. Nothing really about you changes.
No,
And
no.
so, what I really want to emphasize for anybody listening now that might be on the fence and thinking is that it's never really about what you're doing in your life that changes things. I mean, you
Mm,
definitely want to be intentional to your point about the things that you're choosing to do, but it's really more about how you're being and how you're deciding to show up in the world and how you're deciding to, approach a conversation with someone or, look into, I really want to learn how to do this hobby better. I'm using this as an example. But then we say, well, I'll get to it when I have time. Well, it's just not a priority right now. Well, I'll just have to get to it later because I've got this and this and this that are more important. And my rebuttal is always, I'm not saying that everything else should go by the wayside. But when you don't prioritize your vision and what you want, you're only showing up as a fraction of who you really are to the rest of the
yeah.
world. And that's the big point that I want you to understand.
Exactly. And there's always something that's going to pull us from off of focus. There's always something that's going to be asking us to give our
Yep.
energy and time and attention, even if they're good things, kids, family, employment, career, all
Yeah.
those different things. They're all good in their own place, but you can't pour from an empty bucket.
Yep.
So if you really want to show up in the most elevated, amazing way, you have to focus on yourself first. And I just really feel like for the person that's feeling a little bit stuck, that feels like there's something else out there that
Mhm.
they need to get to and they're just not totally sure what that is. It's not going to be accomplished with another weekend getaway or a
Right.
girls trip or anything. It needs to be in a focused environment to really
Yeah.
help you grow into that new version of yourself.
And I also might add too that going away by yourself sometimes is the answer, being able to really think
Mm,
things through without distraction. But I also think that even in a situation like that, it doesn't necessarily help you because you're not surrounded by people who are kind of in it with you
true.
and people who can kind of invite you and challenge you at the same time, but like hold space for you to create what it is that you want.
Exactly. But you've also built mental space into your retreats too. So if you're the kind of
Yeah,
person that needs a little
totally.
bit of headspace, you're going to get that also. Like,
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that we're going to have not only are we going to have carefully planned activities, because one of the things I love to do the first night of any of my retreats is we do what I like to call a champagne toast. And I'm not saying literally we use champagne. Sometimes we do if that's what we have. But we usually have a celebratory drink and we all share why are we here. It just kind of gives us an opportunity to get to know each other without
Mhm.
feeling like you're in a networking session where you're like, hi, I'm Marian and I'm a photographer and I do this for your business. It just almost feels like rehearsed.
Yeah,
And the way that I like to do it, it's a lot more organic. And so
I
we
get
always
that.
start with that. And then we'll have a few guided sessions that we'll do together as a group. But one of the things that's going to be very different about this experience that I really haven't done as much of on my other retreats is we're going to have a lot more open space, some
Mm,
time to practice this state of being. And so for you, that might be, sitting on the private beach, which by the way, the resort where we're going to be has a gorgeous private beach. So you're not going to be fighting for a chair with other tourists. You can very much have your own sacred space to be by yourself if that's what you want. Um, and then we're going to enjoy a private experience on a boat one day. It'll probably be for half a day, but it'll give you kind of that opportunity to really be away from the noise and the
yes,
distractions and all of that because another colleague of mine has a saying, rest can be a revenue generating activity, but it can also be an accelerator to
yes,
help you like with who you are too,
a
right?
100%. And the
Yeah.
way that I want the photography to be involved with everything too is that even before the retreat, I'm going to talk to each of the participants and get a sense
Yeah.
of what are they trying to accomplish on this retreat? What a vision for themselves do they want to step into? So
Yes.
I'm already going to be starting to work on, okay, what does this photo session look like? So for the person that's like, I'm not photogenic or I don't feel like I
Yeah, because a
really
lot
want
of people don't like having their picture taken,
100,
right?
yep,
You probably deal with that a lot.
I always deal with it. I'd say 75% of the people that come in don't love being in front of the camera or haven't been professionally photographed before. And so they're like, well, I don't really like pictures of myself. I don't know how to pose. I don't know how to do anything of that. So I'm super familiar with that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm very good at making people feel super comfortable very quickly. That's something that I really take as something very important. But we have these pre-planning sessions where I start to think, okay, what does it look like for them so that I can create the perfect session for them, along with giving them some ideas about, okay, start thinking along these lines. So you're already doing this pre-work, pre-headspace stuff to get into the right mindset before you even come out to the retreat. And
Yeah.
so this photo session is going to pop in so easily and be really a beautiful experience.
Yeah, because I really think that, I think we can talk and we can, do the work. But then when we actually see the evidence, we
Yeah.
see, wow, look at this vision of yourself. I really think that is what people can say, wow, I never saw myself like that before.
Exactly. And then you go and put it up on your wall so that you can live into that vision of yourself every day. And the emotions that you took from the retreat are going to be a visual representation
Yes.
that you live every day according to that vision of yourself. So it's
Yeah.
full circle with what we're accomplishing here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put you on the spot for a minute, if that's okay,
Do it.
because people that know me know that I'm pretty straightforward and to the point. So, what are you looking to get out of this experience other than being who you are and giving us this amazing opportunity to be photographed? What are you looking to get out of this retreat for Marian?
Pretty much exactly what I've said here. I have had a little bit of like, there's something else, there's something more. I feel like I'm shifting into a really new, healthy mindset. There's been a lot of changes over the last year, couple years. I moved out of Hawaii. So physically, I moved from Hawaii to Texas. That was a big shift. I was born and
I
raised
bet.
a huge shift. Being in Texas has been an amazing experience in a lot of ways. I've had to grow professionally for sure, personally on a lot of different levels. My kids are getting a little bit older, so it's a little bit of change. Life is always about
Yeah.
change, right? A little change there. And so I've started to think, what does the next 10 I turned 40 this year. So what does the next 10 years of my life look like? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to put out into the world? also who are the people that I want to surround myself with, and who are
Yes.
the women and relationships and really opportunities. And I'm just a firm believer that you need to get into the right circles and spaces and rooms. And so even us connecting on your
Yeah.
podcast, I feel
Uh-huh.
like was so serendipitous and
Uh-huh.
exactly what needed to happen. It was like, oh, thank you, God. You just send the right people at the right times with
Yep.
the right connections. And 2025 has already started out amazing. This is going to be such a pivotal shift I can see coming up soon. I get to travel a little bit more. I get to
Yeah.
meet more people. That's really what I'm hoping. Get this is a big year. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I just think that the fact that you're already thinking like that and you're already feeling that, I think is really the evidence that all of it is actually happening. Sometimes I think we tell ourselves, well, I have to wait to see if this works out, right?
mm,
I used to do that all the time. Well, I have to
right.
wait and see how this goes and then I can make a decision. And it's like, what if that really wasn't the way you operated? I'm not suggesting that you get up and say, you know what, I'm going to go do this and not give it any thought. That's not what I'm saying. But if you have this thought in your mind and this something that you want, and maybe you don't really know what it looks like, or maybe you haven't really started to think about what it could mean for you, but it's sort of like you just can't get it out of your mind, right? It's
Hmm.
kind of like it just keeps showing up and you're like, that would just be really, yeah, but I just don't know how that's going to work. It's like, I just want you to sit with that. I'm talking to
Yes,
anyone listening. And because what you just said affirmed that for me is that we have to trust that that's there for a reason, that thought and feeling has been put on us for a reason. And it's really up to us to do something with it. So what if you took a chance and
exactly.
decided to do something different, right? What
Yeah.
if 2025 is your year?
100%. And I know it, like for me, 2025 is my year. And for the other ladies that are going to join us on this retreat, it's going to be their
Yep.
year too. And it's just
Yep.
going to get better and better.
I love it. I love it. So I'm super, super excited. I just want to, is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap up?
I think the biggest thing is if people have more questions or things that they're
Yep.
not sure about or anything, let us know. Talk to Allison. Don't sit on it either because you have a really small amount of people that are coming. You wanted it to
Yep.
be very curated, very
Yep.
intimate.
And
And so,
that's done on purpose. So
yes,
yeah,
exactly. So it's not going that not everybody's accepted or able to attend.
yeah.
Um, and I'm just the biggest thing is really excited for this. This is going to be
I know
fun.
I am too. I can't wait. I can't wait. I never need a reason to go to Key West, but I'm always excited when I'm preparing a retreat because in my mind I can just picture what the experience is going to be like. And that is what I always want to share with people that, this is possible for you.
Yeah,
Bet on yourself. You can do it, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
So our retreat is May 1st to May 6th. It's in Key West. We'll start on a Thursday. So we're going to be at the Casa Marina Resort, which is a beautiful, beautiful property right on one of the probably the largest private beach in Key West. We're going to have lots of surprises, notwithstanding the photo shoot that you're going to get with Marian. But I also have some other surprises up my sleeve that I probably don't really want to share too much about because then it really wouldn't be a surprise. But this is going to be an amazing experience. And for all of you listening who've been to Key West with me before, this is a brand new program. So this is something you definitely want to come and check out if you possibly can. And you can get a professional photo session with Marian too. So I'm super excited. So thanks so much for making time to chat with me today. If anyone is listening and wants more information, I'm going to drop the link to the retreat right here in the comments. And you can reach out to either of us if you have questions. Early bird incentives do run out on March 1st. That's just a little over a week from now. So if you're on the fence about this, my thought is listen to that voice, save your spot. Okay. You just need a deposit to hold your spot. We can work out the other details later, but let's make some plans and let's go. So I
Let's
will
do
be talking to
that.
you soon.
Thank you, Allison. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. All right. Everybody have a great day and a great week.